Something very strange is happening behind the scenes. I really don't know what it's about, but I'll give you just the facts that I've found. That way, you can check these things for yourself if you can think of any reasonable explanations for these things. I would be very grateful if you would write to me, either in my email or in the comments section of this video. So where should I begin? Let's start with this video of mine, which is playing in the background here, which I made on 30 March 2023, about Anthony Morris morning worship videos, which had been removed from 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏. Thanks to my observant friend Tanya, who noticed that all of Morris morning worship videos had been removed. And now pay attention. Note that in this video, I presented evidence that Anthony Morris videos were indeed found back in time by the Wayback Machine on March 16, 2023. For those who don't know, the Wayback Machine is a website that stores virtually millions of web pages from all over the world, every day from all over the internet. This is a very useful online tool, especially when you want to see the changes that are being made to websites. It's a kind of window into history, even years back, you might say. The negative side of the Wayback Machine, however, is that it is really slow to use. For some reason, it loads old websites really slowly, at least for me. Anyway, with this service, I was able to prove to all the skeptics who were mostly Jehovah's Witnesses that all 11 of Morris videos had been on 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏 on 16 March 2023, about a month after Anthony Morris left the governing body. At that time, the vast majority of Jehovah's Witnesses had no idea about the whole Morris removal from the governing body. A short statement, Brother Anthony Morris III is no longer serving as a member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, was published on Wednesday 22 February 2023 on 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏. And it only remained visible for a few days until it was removed. A few words about this Wayback Machine online tool and how to use it. The first thing to do is to Google it and open the page. Then, in the search box, you type in the website for which you want to view the history, in this case 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏. And because we are now looking for changes made to the videos on the site, we enter the exact address in the search box, which is 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏/en/library/videos. No problem, I'll put this link in the description of this video, where you can copy it. There you go. Then the Wayback Machine shows in the calendar view all the hits when a particular site has been saved in the past. You can also see the years in which the recordings have occurred. Blue circles of different sizes show if more than one recording has occurred on the same day. By moving the cursor over a particular circle, you can see the exact time of day, which you can click to open. Usually the date selected from the site history will take some time to load. But if it doesn't seem to load, try pressing the reload button in your browser. Sometimes you have to repeat the reload several times before the page finally opens. This slowness is the worst feature of this whole site. When the page finally opens, scroll down slightly and look for Programs and Events. Click on it and wait for the page to load again. And if it still doesn't load, click the reload button in your browser again and again until the page finally loads. This will open a view of the organization's videos. Usually right at the top is the heading Morning Worship. You can browse them using the arrow button on the right-hand side of the page. Like this. Okay. After all this explanation, let's finally get down to business. As I showed earlier, in my video of March 30, 2023, the Wayback Machine found 11 copies of Anthony Morris morning worship videos that it had saved on 𝙀𝙧𝙅𝙏 website on March 16, 2023. But now when you look backwards to the same date, Morris videos are not there either. What the hell, I thought. I tried again and again because I thought I was doing something wrong. Finally, after dozens of searches, I had to admit that it's true. They can't even be found on the Wayback Machine on 16 March 2023, even though I'm 100% sure they were there a little over a year ago. I then started to research whether Morris's lost morning worship videos could even be found anywhere in the history of the Wayback Machine. And again, after dozens of searches and reloads, I finally found this, as you, dear viewer, can verify for yourself. At the time of making this video on 30 September 2024, Morris's videos can be found in the Wayback Machine archive on 25 December 2022 and back. I've compiled this list of Wayback Machine recordings that I've had time to go through. The list shows when Morris videos appear in the history and when they disappear. This confuses me for at least two reasons. Firstly, I have had to check multiple times that I have indeed searched for them correctly, and that it is not a mistake on my part. Why were Brother Morris morning worship videos found a year ago, on 16 March 2023, on a site completely outside the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, but not anymore? Why is the Wayback Machine now only finding them 3 months further back in history, on 25 December 2022? If you have a reasonable explanation for this, I would be very happy to hear it. Secondly, if there is no reasonable explanation, that leaves an option that I would rather not have to think about. Because then we are starting to talk about some kind of conspiracy theory. Could it possibly be that the organization has managed to remove part of the stored history of the 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏 website from a service outside the organization? Of course, this is not entirely impossible, but if it were, it would show the intensity with which the organization is trying to rewrite history. But why rewrite history for only about 3 months? This only seems to raise more questions than give answers. Now, let's move on to another issue, which also has to do with Anthony Morris, whatnot. Here is a picture from the 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏 website before Brother Morris left the governing body. The image of the governing body was changed to 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏 less than a week after the announcement of Brother Morris was published on February 22, 2023. This is also easily proven by Wayback Machine. On 6 February 2023, an old photo was displayed on the organization's website. Then, on 27 February 2023, this new image was changed and is still there. Surely no one would think that it was a mere coincidence that this particular picture was changed at the very moment that Brother Morris left the governing body. In any case, in my opinion, there is nothing surprising about this change of picture. But there is something very peculiar, disturbing even I would say, about this new picture of the governing body. Now, I'll illustrate this point by downloading a picture directly from the 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏 website. I encourage everyone to test this for themselves to make sure it is not some kind of apostate fabrication, but a genuine image produced by the organization itself. I'll link to this video description, which will take you directly to the 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏 website, where the image is located. Right-click and select Save Image. You can name the image to make it easier to find. In this example, I will name it GB Picture, which I will open on my computer. I then adjust the colors of the image slightly to make its details stand out more clearly. This is where it gets really weird. For it is quite clear that everything you find in Jehovah's Witness publications is there for a good reason. This applies to pictures, videos, and printed text alike. Any material that is published goes through a strict checking and inspection process, after which the governing body either gives it its approval in the spirit of prayer, or however the Spirit may lead. This new silhouette image of a governing body appears to use a technique called subliminal communication or subliminal messages. Such messages are not immediately obvious to the viewer, but they do have a subconscious effect. This technique has been used in a number of different contexts, such as government propaganda videos, popular culture, art, music, advertising, and so on. They have only one purpose: to influence the viewer subconsciously without the viewer being aware of it. Against this background, the question arises, Why is there clearly some kind of dark figure on the right side of this picture? It clearly shows the head of the figure when viewed from the side. The eye, nose, mouth, lips, cheek and chin are clearly identifiable. But it is not a human figure. It looks more like a demonic figure, which becomes more visible when the colors of the image are adjusted slightly. Another clearly identifiable feature is the smoke that seems to wrap around the entire governing body. In fact, that smoke seems to come from that demonic figure, and it seems to reach the heads of the members of the governing body. It also reaches into the organization's publication, which is on the left side of the table. So what should we think about this? Most obviously, there is a meeting of the governing body where they are seeking guidance from the spirit world regarding the organization's policies and publications. I take no credit for any of these observations, since all the facts presented in this video can be found on the internet. These subliminal messages, found in many of the organization's publications, have been highlighted by Quinn Wright on his YouTube channel, Deconstructing Jehovah Witness Brainwashing. He has done a really good job of exposing the amount of brainwashing and manipulation that the Jehovah's Witnesses organization systematically practices. When I saw his video of this image of the governing body with smoke and a demonic figure, I was immediately reminded of a video of Anthony Morris at the morning worship at the headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, that morning worship video was never published on the JW.org website, but thanks to a Bethel insider who went by the name of 𝙀𝙓𝙅𝙏𝙄𝙅, this video was leaked on the internet.
This morning I thought we'd talk about the theme, Beware of Satan's Temptation to Make You Smoke. We're talking about the way Satan himself smoked many years ago. Now, literally in the Greek, puffed up with pride is be made to smoke. The point there being that if you're made to smoke, you're wrapped in smoke. Now, if I was sitting here wrapped in smoke, I couldn't see myself clearly, and you couldn't see others clearly because you're wrapped in smoke, see? So to be wrapped in smoke, puffed up with pride, is offensive to Jehovah God. And
about a year ago, when I was subtitling this unpublished video by Morris, I wondered greatly at his interpretation of wrapped in smoke, surrounded by smoke, which he used as a synonym for puffed up with pride. I have not found such an interpretation in any of the organization's literature, nor had I ever heard of such an interpretation. It therefore seemed undeniably very strange. Did Brother Morris mean to say something more than he intended in the speech? Was this smoke something he had detected in the governing body? And why did Morris say that the governing body is now more than ever in the devil's target?
So Satan crashed because of his pride. He was made to smoke, haughty, just wrapped in smoke. Yes, we gain insight on what made the devil smoke, and he'd like the rest of us to smoke, arrogant. You can see he's wrapped in smoke when we have all this other knowledge of Scripture. Now, I know he's not going to appreciate my morning worship. The governing body's already being targeted like never before by this wicked one, so see, and don't think it can't happen. You can get wrapped in smoke with pride. So by hating self-exaltation and pride, we will not be made to smoke.
Did Morris deliberately include hidden messages in his speech? Had he observed something that was ultimately the reason for his leaving? There are many very peculiar things about this leaving of Morris from the governing body and from headquarters that will hopefully come to light one day. In any case, it can also be no coincidence that this video was never released. Just as it cannot be a coincidence that all his other morning worship videos have been removed and the image of the governing body has been replaced on JW.org since his leaving. What are your thoughts, dear audience? Feel free to comment on this video and if possible, spread the message. Every Jehovah's Witness should be aware of these things happening in their beloved organization. Oh, I forgot to say that some months after Morris left, he was found in a small town in Lumberton, North Carolina, USA. Brother Morris lives there with his wife in a house worth about $250,000 and owned by the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. Thanks Phil for this information and for the great detective work. A link to his Blue Envelope channel can also be found in the description section of this video. Have a nice rest of the day, and as always, let's try to hang in there.